Who wants to be the next Italian wine ambassador? Join an exclusive network of 400 Italian wine ambassadors across 48 countries. Vinitaly International Academy is coming to Chicago on October 19th to 21st, and to Almaty, Kazakhstan from November 16th to 18th. Don't miss out. Register now at vinitaly.com.
Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Listen in as we journey to some of Italy's most beautiful places in the company of those who know them best, the families who grow grapes and make fabulous wines. Through their stories, we will learn not just about their wines, but also about their ways of life, the local and regional foods and specialities that pair naturally with their wines, and the most beautiful places to visit. We have a wonderful journey of discovery ahead of us, and I hope you will join me. Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Today we travel to Campania, to the beautiful island of Ischia, to meet my guest, Sara D'Ambra of the historic Casa D'Ambra winery, which has been in operation since 1888. Buongiorno, Sara. Many thanks for being my guest today. How are you, and is it a beautiful day in Ischia?
Yes, today is a beautiful day, sunny, like a summer day.
Yeah, I'm just trying to imagine Ischia. It's an island I've never been to, Sara, but it's somewhere I've always really wanted to visit. So I'll try to do so as soon as I can. But our listeners are located all around the world. So for those like me who haven't been to Ischia, can you describe Ischia? Can you take us to Ischia? Tell us what's special about this wonderful island.
Yes, Ischia is the biggest island of Naples Bay. Between Capri, Procida, and Ischia, as I said, is the biggest one. Ischia has a volcanic but even marine origin, so it's completely different from the coast and from the other two islands. Ischia has the mountain is no more than 800 meters above the sea level, where we also grow the vines and where also people grow the rabbit. You also want to know about food, right?
Yes, definitely.
So Ischia is 42 square kilometers and has six towns all around. And when my family actually started to make wine in 1956, because before we started as buying the wine with my great grandfather, the surface of a vineyard was much bigger than now, almost double time. And now the vineyards are especially in the middle. The coast, we have beaches, also they built all around the coast. Ischia, the climate is pretty good. Actually, there is a difference between the east and west side because of the mountain is actually in the middle, so it can divide the island in two different climates. East side, where we have around 1,000 millimeters of rain per year, compared with the west side, where we have 600. So it's completely different. This side is much more humid. The west is drier. A special thing of the island is a rock called tufo verde, green tuff, and it makes a difference for us also in the wine. It's very unusual because tufo can be white, black, yellow, but on the island is green because part of the island during its conformation has been underwater. Then we had eruption, and that's why then it came out the rock. And it's especially on the west side of the island. If you go on the east side or already on the south, the soil is completely different. It's much black, and also the consistency is different. It's like the vineyard that we have on the west side. They need like just to understand a bit the difference of the soil. If you go on the west side, you see the dry wall because the soil cannot be cultivated with no terrace. Okay, if you go on the east side, you have a terrace, but there are no dry wall because the soil is more compact, and the terrace can be also standing with no rocks.
Okay, Sara, you've given us a really good description. The main feature, this volcanic island rising out of the Tyrrhenian Sea, actually part of the regional park of the Campi Flegrei. Is that correct?
See, exactly. But as I said before, the soil is completely different, and also the origin completely different from the rest of the coast and the other two islands.
Okay, and a very historic island. The Greeks, the Etruscans, the Phoenicians, the Romans have all passed through Ischia, but today it's very much a tourist island. Is that right?
Yes, yes, it is. It started actually, especially during 1970, because before the island was not that known. And when tourism arrived, actually, we got a big change because if you think that my grandfather made 1 million and half bottle only with the local grapes, now we do 500,000 bottles. This is because for the tourists, we start to build a lot around the coast. So, but we as a winery, we still want to keep like the main variety on the island. And every year we try to recover a piece of land just to increase the production and increase like the green side of island. That's what we take care of. The main varieties are yeah, Biancolella, Forastera, and Palummo.
Okay, so that's really interesting that the vineyard area has diminished since your grandfather began the winery and you're trying to recuperate it now. Tell us a little bit about the history of Casa d'Ambra then, going right back to the beginning.
Okay, as you said, we the winery was born in 1888 with my great grandfather Francesco D'Ambra, and he started only with the wine business. He bought wine from the island, and then he shipped the wine to Naples, North Italy, and also a bit in France, and especially white wine because the island still now has a higher production of white. After my great grandfather, was my grandfather. Salvatore was the winemaker, and his two brothers, Michele and Mario. And in only 1956, they decided to make wine for the first time. So that's why also they built a new winery in a new place for 1 million and half bottles. So the winery was very big. Where we still are now is very big. And my grandfather, he bottled wine, which was a very unusual thing, especially to be in the central south of the island. Because before people just had wine in the barrels. It was actually big barrels. Also, another thing he did, so the bottling was very unusual, especially on the island. And also, he wrote the name of the variety on the bottle. So he started with the Biancolella, Forastera, and palummo, which are still now the main variety and the main wines. And he also, as I said, he wrote on the bottle. So it was very also unusual to give on the bottle the name because people only knew the wine was black or white, was a blend of varieties. But in that case, he decided to give importance to the variety and the variety 100%. Even in some books, you can find these, as I ordered a couple of wineries in Campania, where they gave importance to the indigenous variety. He also studied the varieties because Ischia has also around 9, 10 kind of grapes, but he studied the best for the winemaking. That's why the most important are these three, but we also using a blend other variety which are not the best for the wine production.
Oh, that's really interesting, Sara, to hear this background because you're really talking about how Casa d'Ambra has been a pioneer, in bottling the wine, many, many years ago when, as you say, wine was either purchased by the barrel or demijohn or sfuso rather than actually going into a bottle, and also to be proudly putting the name of the local native grape varieties on the bottle.
Yeah.
So that's a very interesting development. Well, let's talk about your wines. Let's talk about some of these native grapes that make the wines of Ischia unique. Let's talk about Biancolella, Forastera, and Pere Paluma.
Yes, I forgot to say an important step that makes also this variety important. In 1966, the second generation of Casa d'Ambra created the DOC for the island in March 1966. So we are between the first 4 or 5 DOC in Italy. And the family decided to use, instead of the name of the varieties in this way, in this case, they used the name Ischia. Ischia Bianco and Ischia Rosso. So they decided for white Ischia Bianco with 50 Biancolella and 50 Forastera. And for the red, 50 per palummo and 50 guarnacha. So in this case, they just want to make light on the name Ischia because that time was not that known on the island. Also then the wine. The grapes, so as I said before, we still prefer the indigenous variety. So the most of the production is with that. We only buy from the mainland 1% of grapes like Falanghina and Aianico. Biancolella is actually it was more known than Forastera for some reason. We don't know why actually, but they both are very mineral wine, good acidity. They have a good balance, but a variety that definitely you can. They can also age very well in the bottle. We decided not to oak the wine, especially the white, because we want to keep the freshness of this wine, especially for Biancolella. They have very good acidity, so they're very good for the aging. Most of the production, as I said before, is 80% is white, and are anyway wine that you can like match also with local food definitely. With the seafood, so they like respect anyway the tradition, and we wanna first of all respect the grapes. That's why also we decided not to work this wine. A special wine for us is a Francitelli. It's the name of the place, and it's a crew of Biancolella. It's our historical vineyard that we own since the second generation of Casa D'Ambra, so around 1970. And is a vineyard on the top of the mountain at 600 meters above the sea level. And it's a special place because, first of all, of the altitude, so we have a better acidity. The soil is completely volcanic with the tufo verde, which drain very well the water because we cannot water here on the island for DOC vineyard. And also it gives a different taste to the wine. And this is a crew of Biancolella. They actually is a wine that my father made for the first time in 1985. So it's a Frassitelli, and it's a crew of Biancolella. It's our best white wine, and it's a white wine that you can also age for 15 years. And we like matching this wine with the local rabbit.
Okay.
So with the local dish, because Ischia, even if it's an island, has more like mountain tradition instead of tradition from the sea.
Oh, that's really fascinating. Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll discuss the food in more detail in just a minute. Can you give us broadly the different profile tastes between, say, your Ischia made from Biancolella and the Ischia Bianco made from Forastera, the two different grapes?
Yeah, Biancolella is more fruity. As I said before, first of all, they both are very fresh with good acidity. So they both are very suitable for the aging. Biancolella has more fruit inside and is very delicate. That's also why we also keep during the fermentation the temperature very low. And the Forastera is more floral. Perepalummo, the red, also even Perepalummo has good acidity and has a bit of red fruit, but also a bit of pepper, even if we don't offer this one.
Okay, Perepalumno. What does that name mean?
It's the pigeon feet.
The pigeon foot, the red foot.
Yeah, it's also called piedi rosso or piedi di colombo, which is from Campania area. But Pere Palumbo has a bit difference in DNA, and also is different from that wine because of the soil. So it's very related with the soil on the island. And it's a wine that even in this case we don't oak, and we also like can drink chilled, be chilled in the summertime, and actually you can match with some white meat or even with some plate of fish.
Fine, that's great. And what about the Riserva Mario D'Ambra?
Yeah, Mario D'Ambra is the Ischia Rosso that I mentioned before, 50 percentage Guarnacha, which is another local variety that we only use as a blend because it's very strong red, and 50 percentage of Pere Palummo. In this case, was first of all a wine that my father dedicated to his uncle, because at some point my grandfather left the winery to go in North Italy in the wine research, And was my father was the winemaker, and Michele was already passed away, and so were only my father with Mario. That's why I dedicated him this wine. So anyway, this wine they decide for this blend, even because they wanted to maybe this wine. So before we use it, my father used the barrel. Now he's using the cask just to give a bit of less oak touch in the wine. It's the barrel of 25 hectoliters. It's a strong red wine. You can definitely match with any like red meat. Is perfect. And we every year sell the previous two harvests. So this year actually we are no actually four, because this year we're selling the harvest 2020. Only this red, and another one we sell like the previous old vintage.
Okay, that's a really good overview of your wines. And I just want to recap a few of the important things you mentioned, Sara. You mentioned that Ischia received the DOC in 1966. That's incredibly early, and definitely one of the very earliest denominazione d'origine controllata wines in all of Italy. And it's interesting as well that the Ischia wines have traditionally always been the wine of Naples. So originally with your great grandfather, this wine would have been making that short distance across the Bay of Naples to be sold in the bars and restaurants of Naples. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, it's right. And also, actually, we've been pretty lucky because we got the phylloxera. When I arrived in Italy, in Ischia, we got much later. So that's why also my great grandfather sold the wine, most of our wine all around Italy, because all around Italy, they had very few liters of wine. In Ischia, we had a lot of wine. So it was even like lucky after a while for that. And he exported all around Italy, because we got like I'm not sure, maybe like 5 or 6 years later, or even more.
Okay, I'm amazed that the Philosopher was even able to survive in this volcanic soil.
No, unfortunately, because the soil is sandy, but it's even clay.
Okay.
Uh, so that's why we had to also replant all the vines, even in Italy. There are no place where you can find vines with no in Estum.
Now, I'm really interested, you're producing 80% white wines, but also 20% of the red wines. And you mentioned that the cuisine of Ischia is not simply just the seafood from the coast, but also a mountain cuisine. Let's talk about the cuisine of Ischia and how it pairs with your wines.
Going back to the white, like Frassitelli, so Biancolella usually we like matching with local rabbit, but it's very good even with fried fish, because it has a bit of a almond taste at the end of the palate, and it clean your mouth from the oil that you have. Forastera is richer, and we actually like to taste with some seafood plate. Both of them are anyway good, even as aperitivo, and we don't like serve too cold these wines. Otherwise, you can lose all the taste and especially the flavor. Pere palummo, even if it's not the traditional course like the rabbit, anyway, here we eat a lot of fish because most of the people do fishing around the island, and most of the cuisine is open like during the summertime. It's anyway part of the island is cooking fish.
What are some of the most typical piatti tipici di mare?
Calamari e gamberetti fritti, like paranza, we call it also. I don't know the translation in English, paranza. The fisherman goes out to fish, and he takes like even small, different kind of fish that we have in Ischia, but small. And we like buying this in the early morning because the boat come by the harbor, and then we fried. And is someone has with lemon, someone just with a bit of salt and pepper, or just salt. And it's a mix of different fish. Even three, I don't know the name in English, but it's a mix of small fishes.
Trivia is red mullet.
Yeah, okay, okay. Also, we love the calamaro, fried calamaro. Or we like also like the fish with the salt
Okay.
or grilled. Che ci sta la spigola?
Sea bass.
Yeah, yeah. Or even alici. We like doing beef fried,
And
yes.
small anchovies.
Or even marinato, the marinato with vinegar on.
What about pasta?
Pasta, we have like everyday pasta. In the summertime is pesto. We make also with all the basil. Every single person I think has in the house, and also with the fresh tomatoes.
Okay.
Even with the seafood is very common.
Okay.
Going to the restaurant and having spaghetti with the seafood, mix of seafood. Or even there is another one with the rice. It's called risotto alla pescatora. It's a mix of seafood made in this way, a bit different from the spaghetti.
Okay.
Are the main pasta or just one of rice course? Very common this time of the year. In the winter time, we are more rabbit taste.
Tell us about this famous rabbit of Ischia.
It actually has there was an older way to grow the rabbit, and it's called coniglio da fossa. In this way, people they grew. Someone still does it. The rabbit in a small hole dipped in the soil. So the rabbit was basically free to move, find his own food. So the muscle was good of the rabbit, so the meat then was much better. And even the food, he had only the food from the nature, so everything he likes from there. Now is just people can do in the house, but it's no more allowed to sell the rabbit in this way. But if you have someone of the family does it, like in most of the house, but as I said, it's no more allowed to sell. So if you go to the restaurant, it's a local rabbit but grilled in a different way.
Okay. And how is it prepared? How do you prepare the rabbit?
We prepare with a bit of oil, the entire garlic in, and we put in all the pieces of the rabbit, and we use a special pot in ceramic. Is in ceramic, it goes straight on the fire. It's a ceramic pot. We like do a small like fried, and then we add the white wine, some tomatoes, but just a few tomatoes, and local herbs. One of the most common herbs used is it's called piperna, which is a kind of thyme. It's a wild herb on the island. It's very similar, but has the flower is purple instead of white.
Okay. That sounds delicious.
It takes almost an hour to be cooked.
Okay. And with the frassatelle.
Yeah, we love
And
the
the,
frassitelli. Yes, is I
yeah.
think the best
Okay.
match. Someone does also with pere palummo. Ecco, a bit of
Okay.
pere palummo if you like that red.
Now, Sara, final question. If our listeners travel to Ischia, if I travel to Ischia, can we visit Casa d'Ambra? Are you open for wine tourists?
Oh yeah, we open for that. We do a wine tour where we show the vineyard, our best vineyard, the Frassitelli. We show the winery, so we explain all the process of our wine. And then as a last thing, we do a wine tasting of our 4 or 5 wines. And we explain all the grapes, the history, how the vineyard also was born. So most of the important things of the wine that actually I said even before. We just bought 7 hectares a year ago, where there is an old building where we opening the wine spa. So we do also the wine bath, and also we are open as a wine resort with rooms, and so we also are open for events. Another things that we do with the wine is our lotions. We take the red skins from Pere Palummo, Aglianico, and Guarnacha, and from there we make lotion because they are good for the skin, for the aging. They are very good.
Okay. So you actually have a wine resort where listeners could come and stay and also have some spa treatments, as well as drink the wine and eat the rabbit.
We don't do cooking, but on reservation, sometimes we do when people ask. We do a wine tasting, also with local rabbit. We have a person who cooks rabbit in a local way. But we are like, don't have restaurant. We just open with wine tasting. Also, we do a lot of wine tasting. And as I said, when people like to taste something local, because we like also to serve with the local food, we prepare, yes, also the rabbit.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. Sara, it's been a pleasure meeting you, talking to you. You've taken us to Ischia, a place I've longed to visit and hope to someday soon. So thank you for sharing Ischia. Thank you for sharing the story of Casa D'Ambra.
Thank you very much. I hope I brought you on the island in the best way.
You definitely.
Anytime you want to come, just can be our guest, okay?
Okay, thank you very much. And I hope you have a good summer and have a great day. And I hope to see you soon. Grazie, arrivederci.
Thank you very much. Arrivederci.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Please remember to like, share and subscribe right here or wherever you get your pods. Likewise, you can visit us at ItalianWinePodcast.com. Until next time, chin chin.